Hey y'all, welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. Did y'all miss me? I know that I missed you guys, and you're going to have to bear with me in this video. I'm sick once again, so if I sound extra nasally, which I know I do, I'm sorry, but I wanted to put this video out regardless. So I'm starting off the week making one of our favorite recipes. I have shared it once before on here, and it is a cracked out chicken noodle soup. So to my Dutch oven, I added in a shredded rotisserie chicken, and then I'm chopping up some veggies. I have 2 stalks of celery, and then I have 2 peeled carrots that I'm trying to thinly chop. I know my knife skills are terrible and I desperately need to sharpen my knives, but I'm just going to toss that on into the pot, followed by a big container of reduced sodium chicken broth. I believe it's maybe 8 cups, 6 cups, I don't know. The recipe will be down below. I also added in some milk and then 1 can of cream of chicken soup, followed by some cream cheese. Next, I'm going to add in some ranch seasoning mix, enough to equal 1 packet. If you can't find that at your store, you can always find it on Amazon. So I'm just going to let that come up to a boil, and I'm going to let those veggies cook until they are tender, until that cream cheese melts down. And then I'm going to break in some spaghetti noodles, and I'm just going to let those cook according to the package directions. And then the last couple steps, I'm going to be adding in some sharp cheddar cheese, followed by some cooked bacon pieces, and that is it. I'm just going to really give that a good stir so that I can break up that pasta. It tends to stick together when you cook it like that. And then I'm just going to season it with plenty of black pepper. And boom, I now have the best chickeny pasta ever. If you have not tried this recipe, you really need to. It is so good. It is so flavorful and thick. My kids love it. The leftovers are great. And there's veggies in there, so it's healthy-ish, right? On Tuesday, I made some sub sandwiches using these rolls that I found on clearance at Kroger's. I just took a serrated knife and cut those down the middle. And then I laid down some of this Hillshire Farms roast beef. Not even going to lie, this stuff was slimy. I don't know if that's normal. It was a fresh pack. The date was good. Kind of grossed me out, but it tasted good. I guess that's all that matters. And then I also laid down a slice of provolone cheese per each sandwich. I just cut that down the middle, or tore it down the middle, I should say. Layer that on top. Obviously, you can feel free to use whatever type of cheese that you want to. And then I'm going to pop that under my broiler for a couple of minutes. Definitely keep a close eye on it. I thought I was keeping a good eye on it, but as you can see, these got a little toasty, but it's all good. We still ate them. To go along with those, I also made some homemade fries. So I'm starting off with 3 russet potatoes that I am going to peel, and then I'm just going to chop those into the shape of fries. You can chop them as thinly or as thickly as you want to. This is a little time consuming, at least if you're me, that is. Once again, not that great with knives, but it's all good. I'm just going to toss it into a large mixing bowl, and then I'm going to cover it with water, and I'm going to let those soak for about 30 minutes. Then I'm going to drain off that water and then add them to some paper towels, and I am just going to pat those dry as best as I can. I'm going to dry out that mixing bowl, add back in the fries, and then I'm going to drizzle those with some olive oil. And then to season it, I'm going to use some of this Zatarain's blackened seasoning, and I'm going to season those generously. And then I'm just going to shake around my bowl, get those evenly distributed with the seasoning and the oil, and then I'm going to add those into my preheated air fryer basket. I preheated it for about 5 minutes at 360 before I added those in, and I don't remember exactly how long these took to cook. This was filmed a few weeks ago. I set my timer for 15 minutes. That's when I started checking it, and I did shake it pretty often. That way it all got cooked evenly, but you'll know when they're done. They'll be crispy and look something like this. And these aren't going to be just normal fries. These are going to be poutine style. I hope I'm saying that right. I have been wanting to try this for the longest time, but basically you're going to need some brown gravy. I'm just using a packet because I'm fancy like that. I just followed the directions on the back of the package, added it to some water, let it come up to a boil until it thickened. Doesn't get any easier. Then to the side of my plate, I'm going to add down a generous amount of those fries, and then I'm going to top it with some of these cheese curds. These were hard to find, at least where I live. I did find them at Kroger's. They weren't with like the normal cheeses. I looked there for forever. but they were with the specialty cheeses like close to the deli. So I'm just taking those and kind of breaking those apart, and then I'm going to add down a good amount of that brown gravy all over the top. It kind of melted down that cheese a little bit and made them ooey and gooey and delicious. Here is everything all tied together. How gorgeous does this plate look? This meal was so good. We all loved it. That poutine, genius. If you follow me over on Instagram, you've already saw a picture of this meal. But it was seriously so good, and I just served it with some Clausen pickles on the side. Can't say enough good things about it. On Wednesday, we had a taco night, just some simple beef tacos. If you are not a taco lover, we can't be friends, sorry. No, I'm just joking. But I served those on some ranch-flavored taco shells. I just wanted to finish off this box that I had in my pantry. These are so good if you haven't tried these, by the way. And I just topped mine with some cheese, lettuce, and some taco sauce. I didn't do traditional sides this night. Normally, I do like the rice and beans, but I wanted to switch it up. I just did a side of grapes and then some of these ranch and garlic roasted potatoes, which I will show how I made here in a second. People tell me all the time that I cook with so much ranch seasoning, and I didn't think so until this video. I guess I see what you're talking about. But to a large mixing bowl, I have just chopped up some russet potatoes. I just left the skin on. I, of course, washed them really well first, and then I drizzled in some olive oil, put in a big scoop of minced garlic, and then generously seasoned with some of that ranch seasoning. And then I added in plenty of black pepper, and I just, oh yeah, also a little bit of salt. And I just toss those around to coat. I'm sorry, guys. My voice is terrible right now. But I just coated those really well and toss those onto a greased foil-lined cookie sheet and spread those out evenly. And then I'm going to pop those in my oven at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. And that is it. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be making a meatless meal. It's going to be an Instant Pot minestrone soup. It's been a while since I have pulled out my Instant Pot, and I came across this recipe on Pinterest, and I thought it looked really good and something that my kids would like. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn my Instant Pot on saute. I'm going to saute some carrots, zucchini, and celery in some olive oil. You could, of course, throw in an onion if you wanted to, but I'm just going to season that with some onion powder and some salt, and then I'm going to toss in some minced garlic. And then I'm just going to dump in some ingredients. So I'm going to dump in some tomato sauce, petite diced tomatoes, some northern beans, and kidney beans. I am going to drain and rinse both of those. And then I'm going to add in a cup of this pasta. You can, of course, use any type that you want to. And then a box of vegetable broth, and then some Italian seasoning. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this dumped into my Instant Pot. Y'all, this was probably my favorite vegetarian meal that I have made yet, and one of my favorite things that I have made in the Instant Pot. It was so simple, but it was so delicious. I served it with these cheesy garlic breadsticks, which was the perfect side. I dipped it into that soup, and it was just a huge hit. And the leftovers were even better. For the last meal idea, I'm making one of my favorites, and that is this honey garlic chicken. So to my pan, I'm adding in a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to toss in some carrots and some broccoli. And I'm just going to saute that around in the oil for about 5 to 6 minutes, I would say, just until they start to get tender, and then I'm going to remove those to a separate plate. Then I'm going to add in a little bit of extra olive oil, and I'm going to toss in 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I have cut into bite-sized pieces. And I chose to season that this time with some of this Tony's Creole seasoning. While the chicken was cooking, I went ahead and got started on the sauce. So you're going to need some soy sauce. You really should use some low sodium, but I like mine a little salty. I know it's not good for me though. Then I'm going to add in a little bit of water, and you need about 3 tablespoons of honey. I don't measure it. I just kind of eyeballed it, used one less dish, and then I whisk that together. So I have just added back in those veggies so that they get heat back through for about a minute or 2. And then I'm going to add in that sauce that I just mixed together, followed by a cornstarch slurry. That's just a little bit of cornstarch mixed with some water, and that's what's going to thicken the sauce. I just let that cook for an additional 2 minutes, I would say. And here is what it looks like when it is done. How pretty is that? This makes for the best dinner. I love it. You could top it with some sesame seeds if you want it to make it even prettier. I had some, but I couldn't find them, so I just left it alone. I serve it over some basmati rice, and it is just the bomb. I also took this for my work lunch the next day, as you can see here in a second. But that is going to wrap up this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it and found some inspiration or a new recipe that you wanted to try. If you are new here, I would love it if you would stick around and subscribe. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.